we're pretty matchy-matchy.
One of the things I want to talk about is things about movie things.
Yes. Oh, good. Because that's why I've brought you here today. Let's see now. Okay, even just that, I was peaking, so I need to come down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, are we ready to jump in on Major League?
Let's do it.
I'm bummed because it was like it's been a minute since I actually watched it.
Yes.
Since we've postponed
yes.
so many times.
Yes.
But I feel like it's very, very fresh in my mind. Hello and welcome to the most excellent 80s movies podcast. It's the podcast where a filmmaker and a comedian hit a home run through the 80s movies we think we love or might have missed with these, our grown-up eyes, to see how they held up. Did they hold up? Are they any good at all here in the year 2022? And today we are talking about Major League. Or is it Major League or is it Major League Baseball?
Major League Baseball.
Okay, we're talking about Major League Baseball, not the thing itself, the movie selection from 1989.
Oh, no, it's Major League.
It's just Major League?
Yeah.
Okay. Major League, a movie selection from 1989.
Here's the pitch. Going! Not the damn song again.
Look out in the cheap seats. The funniest team in baseball is back for their best season ever.
All the way!
Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn.
What was that last pitch you threw me?
Oh, called the Eliminator.
Jake Taylor.
There's a rookie in camp I'm going to need your help with. What exactly is his problem?
Roger Dorn.
Come on, Roger. Take one for the team.
Willie Mays Hayes.
And he's out by an eyelash at third. Boy, we never seem to get the close ones.
Pedro Serrano.
Serrano killed baseball.
And making their debuts this season, Jack Parkman. Kamikaze Tanaka. Rube Baker.
I bet you're wondering why they call me Rube. No, I got a pretty good idea how that happened.
This is a trailer for the sequel.
Team announcer.
Yeah, this isn't right. Who are those people?
This is for Major League Baseball. Major League
Part
2.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right, hold on. This might be it.
Harry Doyle here, welcoming all you to another season of Indians baseball.
Here's a list of the players we'll be inviting to camp.
This guy here is dead.
Cross him off, then.
We'd love for you to come to spring training for a shot at this year's club.
By the way, you were with me last night. Who's this chick on top of me?
We'd still like to take a look at you at our spring camp.
Not sure I can make it by then.
Who is that?
Serrano.
What's his religion? Voodoo.
Hey! Willie Mays Hayes here. Play like Mays, I run like Hayes. How you doing?
What the hell league you been playing in?
California Penal.
Don't you have any proven major league talent?
Now I want to put together a team that'll help us relocate to Miami.
You want us to lose?
We've been losing. What I want is for us to finish dead last.
This year, the Cleveland Indians have a multi-talented team. The first offering, just a bit outside. They're masters of the sacrifice.
He's looking to sacrifice a live chicken.
One whole chicken, just like you said.
The double play.
Excuse me.
I have a much better body than she does.
Big for me, she really does.
And the pick-off.
Every time we win, we peel a section.
Tom Berenger.
Zipper on your skirt stuck.
Use your imagination.
Charlie Sheen.
These things make me look ridiculous.
Seeing's the most important thing, son. I don't think it's that important.
Corbin Burnson. And Bob Uecker. Haywood swings and crushes one towards South America. Major League.
ball wouldn't have been out of a lot of parks.
Name one.
Yellowstone.
So the ending of that trailer is kind of weird, where they're all just like they're sitting around a table at a bar, and it just trails off with them like laughing, like kind of genuinely at each other. Isn't that sort of odd? I don't know. Okay, I'm Chrissy Lenz, improviser, director of the Neighborhood Comedy Theater in downtown Mesa, Arizona, and with me is filmmaker Nathan Blackwell.
Hi there. Glad to be here. Or am I?
Filmmaker and professor and teacher of child adults.
College students.
Yes, child adults, right? That's what they're.
Yeah, I've been teaching during COVID times. I've been teaching one class a semester at Glendale Community College's film department.
Wonderful. Okay, Major League. So I know I've seen this movie before, but it's one of those ones where I definitely have not or did not like sit down and watch it from like start to finish.
Yeah.
I've just seen all the pieces of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of pop culture clips in here, of moments. I don't know if I've ever purposefully watched the movie, but it was like on TV and caught sections of it. I think this may have been the first time that I've seen it all the way through.
It was definitely the first time I've seen it all the way through, and I believe maybe the TV cut was different or shorter, but maybe not. Anyway, this was familiar yet new to me, and so I have a question. Do you know anything about the song that plays at the beginning? So this is our second baseball movie with just a little Supergirl sneaking in between. We did The Natural, and that had the Randy Newman soundtrack, which was guest Josh Castleman's deep cut recommendation.
Right.
What the hell was the song in this one?
It definitely sounded like a Randy Newman-esque homage. I don't think it was, though.
I don't think it was either. Like I may be someone who has better Google skills than me can figure it out, but it sounded like an interpretation of of what Randy Newman's like soundtrack, but it's all about like Cleveland and how sad it is.
Yeah, it's for such a broad movie. It starts pretty realistic. It starts pretty. I liked the opening. I liked how it set Cleveland because in my mind, I don't have the strongest visual image of Cleveland. I've only kind of like passed through there, and so it was nice to get an idea of how of the people of Cleveland, how they viewed their baseball team, how for people who don't know how down their luck was for their team, and just kind of setting the stage and expectations. I'm not even sure if they shot the movie in Cleveland. I'd hope that they did, but because we really don't get much of Cleveland after that, except for just the fans and kind of cutting back to some of the people we see in the beginning. But yeah, the music did kind of seem Randy Newman-esque.
It was Randy Newman. It's called Burn On.
Randy Newman doing his best Randy Newman.
Yeah. So there's a nice connection between these two movies. So the team that we're looking at is the Cleveland Indians, and we really get just a smorgasbord of all the things that are now inappropriate about the Cleveland Indians being their mascot whatsoever, the racist depictions and the people with the headdresses and which they didn't know was racist then. They didn't know 80s. It wasn't okay. Guess what? It's not okay. So.
Yeah, and the Cleveland Indians have since been renamed the Cleveland Guardians.
And yay. Okay, so we start with the wife, a divorced wife, or he's either dead or they're divorced. Is he dead? Dead.
I don't know. Yeah, this is proto Ted Lasso. The
which is
story.
which is
Yeah.
going to be my deep cut recommendation. Don't steal it.
It's not that deep.
It's not that deep. It's very, very surface level. But she is she is a bitch on wheels. She is so 80s. She has fabulous hair. She has shoulder pads for days. She is like, I would compare her in vibe to Serena or Selena from Supergirl. Like, she is that 80s bitch on wheels that we loved to love and hate. And at the beginning, she has two hot, buff, silent, like Nordic men who follow her around who are like security guards.
Mhm. Yeah, she has arm candy.
She does. And I love her. Like, so one of the see that tiny adjustment, do you see like how much it popped me? This
Mhm.
microphone is just like it pretends to have this little dial that is
Mhm.
going to give me all these options of volume. But it's like that shower dial in the shower where it's
Right.
like no, now I'm burning my flesh off. Yeah. So just like in Ted Lasso, she confides right away in the team manager that she wants to tank the team so that she can move to Miami. And it's almost like scene for scene, Ted Lasso, except for that she wants to move the team.
Can't
She
believe
doesn't,
they ripped off Ted Lasso.
yeah. She doesn't want the team she wants to move the team to Miami and get out of their contract and get out of Cleveland and go to Miami, which sounds much better. Like, Miami
Yeah.
wants to build them a new stadium. Miami wants them there, and Cleveland is not giving them any resources. So couldn't she have just like asked, like, to me, I understand that it's the fundamental assumption of this movie that what she's doing is bad and wrong, and that moving the team to Miami would be a mistake. But I don't think so. I think that she should have been allowed to move the team to Miami.
Well, we're supposed to dislike her because she doesn't really care about the team. She doesn't really care about baseball. She just wants to move.
Yeah, because she's the owner of the team, and like,
Mhm.
somebody around here has to have it's like, the invisible hand of self-interest. Someone around here has to be like, well, this is not great. And you know what would be great? Cleveland, like, or not
Mhm.
Cleveland, Miami. And if she had just told the team, although like then they would have been cheating, right? By trying
Oh
to
yeah, yeah.
lose.
If they're, yeah,
Okay.
because the premise is that they've got a contract with the city, but they can only break it if attendance drops to a certain level.
Right. Right. Okay. I understood that. But I was on her side. Like, I wanted her to be allowed to move the team to Miami and live her best life. And I think it would have been best for the team in the long run. Also, I love that, she is the villain. Like, I love her as a villain. I love her outfits. I love her character. Even though I would like a little bit more dimension to her, I liked her
Yeah.
very much. Although, and I like that it was a lady villain. The misogyny that comes in, I think, is unfortunate, but
Mm-hmm.
I like the
Yeah.
lady villain.
And the misogyny isn't only her storyline or hers to bear.
No,
Many characters get that chance.
they do. They really, that's the part they share. So, there we get the putting the team together like bit at the beginning where they're like, Tom Berenger, is that man's name?
Yes, it's Tom Berenger, and then Corbin Bernstein.
I like Berenstein,
Bergenstein. Yes.
but as we all know, it's a Berenstain.
Yeah, Tom Berenger, Corbin Bernstein.
Yeah, they are. So, and Tom Berenger is playing in the Mexican League.
Yes.
And he's just like got chickens and chicks in his house, like chickens and like naked women. And like, he's sort of washed up. So he's just like doing what
Yeah.
he's got to do. Charlie Sheen is in jail.
Mm-hmm.
there's the coach guy is like, he talks like this.
Yeah, the coach is working at a car factory or a auto something.
Yeah.
He's doing a blue collar job.
And they're like, do you want to coach Major League Baseball?
Mm.
And he's like, I don't know. I got a guy on the other line about white wall tires.
Right.
I'm making him sound like Sling Blade. But we meet the whole rest of the people who are coming out for the trial league. We've got the insurance salesman
Yes.
who is a voodoo
Dennis
guy.
Haysbert. Yes.
Oh, I adore him.
Yes.
I adore him so much. And Corbin Bernstein, who is Dorn, who seems like the only like good professional real player here. And then we've got Willie Mays Hayes, who is Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, who's a total rookie, never played anywhere, sneaking into the tryouts.
Which I didn't know that. I didn't know
Right.
that. And then
Yeah,
when they
he
take
wasn't
this
on the
bed
list.
out, and I was like, I had to rewind it twice.
Like,
And I was
why are
watching
they-
it with Rocket, my 10-year-old, and I was like, why is he outside now?
Yeah, he wasn't on the list. He's totally conned his way into tryouts. He's never played anywhere.
But he's fast.
Right. So everyone in this movie, not to skip, I think, who do we have any characters left?
I mean, there's the older man who's been in the league for a long time. He's also a pitcher. He's the other pitcher.
Crooked.
And he is, but he's very religious, and he's like gross, but he's religious.
Right. And he's a counterpoint to Dennis Haysbert's, also very religious, with a very kind of trumped up Hollywood version of voodoo.
So offensive.
So basically everyone, this is a underdogs who triumph over the naysayers. Which is typically something I'm really into. Each of these characters has a weakness, Tom Berenger is old, and
he's got bad knees.
He, it's a young man's game. Charlie Sheen is a criminal. He's got bad sight. He's got an attitude, and he's got bad vision.
Yeah, and he's got like super STP and like oppositional defiance.
Yes. Wesley Snipes is the rookie. He's green. He still has a lot to learn.
And he's not good. Like he can run fast, but that's truly all he can do.
Right. Yeah. He's not quite a professional level baseball player.
And he uses his speed to like steal bases and stuff. So
right.
But I love that, like, even again here, she's giving these people a chance to get into the major friggin' leagues. She is opening the doors.
She's giving them a great opportunity. She is hoping that they destroy the team. She is hoping. But she's not giving anyone a chance except other than to fail.
They're in the league now. They're in the league now, and they're cutting their teeth.
What a great gift she's given them.
I'm saying yes, Nathan. I hear some sarcasm in your voice.
She has hired a wrecking crew to destroy the team. She's looking at their weaknesses and saying, "This is what I want. I want I am the naysayer." She is the naysayer.
Right,
These
but I'm on her side.
Triumph over the naysayer. She's the naysayer.
Disagree. Okay, so and I think my favorite character, in spite of like the inappropriateness of like the voodoo, was the insurance man, who the voodoo guy, who's like, hats for bats, keep bats warm. The bats need to be happy, and I just adored him.
He is, I feel like a lot of these characters, a lot of these actors fit their characters like a glove. Dennis Haysbert his hand is too big for this glove. Like it's like basically he's given a broad cartoony religion.
Yeah.
And he's way better. The actor is way better than the role.
So much better.
Yeah, and his weakness is religion.
Yeah. It's that he doesn't believe in himself. He believes that Joe Boo, his like deity, either gives or takes the bat's talent.
It
He
was like
doesn't
the
believe that it
natural.
lives inside of himself. Yeah. And
he
he's
just
like,
needed it. The magic was inside of him all along.
right, yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And then there's the coach guy, right? So
Yeah, and then in terms of like significant characters, we've of course got the amazing Bob Uecker
mhm.
and Rene Russo, who appears like halfway through the movie.
For no goddamn reason other than I guess they needed some kind of B plot, but
Mhm.
we'll talk about the love story in a
The quote in quotations love story.
right. So Corbin Burnson is like, he's the type of guy who's like, he's in the league, he's a free agent next year. He clearly wants to be picked up by another team, so he's not taking any risks
Yeah.
with his
He's pulled from like a Revenge of the Nerds kind of thing to where it's like, oh, the country club, like, you know, oh, I can't like I just don't get his motivation for being in baseball.
well, he seems to want a career after baseball. Like, he wants endorsements, he wants to be the host on ESPN, he wants the cushy life.
Right.
So to bring it back to Ted Lasso, like, as Roy Kent ages out of baseball, he's just like, what do I do now? All I've ever been is a baseball player, and he goes to like be a TV host. That's what Corbin Burnson wants.
Right. I guess you know, Corbin Burnson started as a real baseball player and then got sidetracked by the wealth of it.
Right. Okay, so then we get the first of many sports montages where everybody is like trying, but they're not doing great.
This is tryouts.
And there's this thing that's happening here, which is that Corbin Burnson begins this rivalry with Charlie Sheen because Corbin Burnson thinks that it's the job of the older players who have been there before to make sure that the new players are tortured and hazed and like just put in their place, which is such an 80s it really is such an outdated concept, but it was like so toxic, but it was so a part of it. Like, oh, you're new, that means we have to like
haze you.
we have to try and get you to leave. So not only do your baseball skills have to be up to par, but your tolerance of torture also has to be up to par, and then you'll be one of us.
Mhm.
We also get to see the people of the city, which includes Neil Flynn, the janitor from Scrubs. I love him.
Yes, in other things.
And he's like, these fucking guys, what the
Uh-huh.
hell? So we meet all the people who will eventually, as we know, come to love this version of the Cleveland
In quotation
Indians.
marks, yes.
But right now they hate them.
Mhm.
They go out to dinner. Like, the scene we see in the trailer is that like the opposite of Corbin Burnson, Tom Berenger takes the two new really struggling guys, Wesley Snipes and Charlie Sheen, out to dinner. And Charlie Sheen, we have to talk a little bit about the physical manifestations of his character. He has
Mhm.
ridiculous hair.
Mhm.
He has a clip-on earring. And apparently, like, just his rebellion is to not wear sleeves.
Yeah, he is the bad boy, you know. Tom Berenger is kind of the de facto leader on the field, being the catcher. Apparently, that's a thing, I guess. And so and so he is taking them under his wings. He's got a different leadership style than Corbin Burnson. And I don't know. I never. I mean, I've liked Tom Berenger in stuff before, but in this, I just never quite felt the warmth that I wanted to feel from him. From where
Yeah.
the movie places him, you know, and I feel like he's not given enough screen time and interaction with the people on the field. And when we do see him on his own with Rene Russo, he always just feels kind of like a sweaty creep.
Yes, and he is a sweaty creep. So I'm totally on board with what you're saying. Like he doesn't do it for me, and I don't know anything else that he's in. It's like a lot of
Mhm.
like Chuck Norrisy type roles that he does, right? Am I
Well,
wrong?
no, well, I'm sure he's done that, but he's most famous for being in the Oscar-winning Platoon.
Oh
Um,
shoot, Platoon. Wait, is that the one that also has Charlie?
Platoon, Platoon.
Is that the one that also has Charlie Sheen?
It has Willem Dafoe in it.
But Charlie Sheen is in one of those, right? Martin Sheen is in it, and so is Charlie Sheen. What am I thinking of?
You're thinking of Hot Shots?
I am. I'm thinking of Hot Shots. Thank you, Nathan.
Yes.
So
One,
I think that
yeah.
anyone else who would have been like a more lovable rascal, like I'm thinking of a Kevin Costner Tin Cup type,
Mhm.
but maybe I'm only making the Rene
Are you
Russo
Yeah.
connection. Somebody who is more of a um what they're trying to create with him. Can you think of anyone? We need Adam Reaney on the case. Like who else would be who could have maybe done that for us in a different way?
Right. Tom
There's
Selleck.
Oh my god, Tom Selleck. Fuck yes. This is a much better this is an Oscar-winning movie now. Tom Selleck for sure. Okay, anyway. So yes, then we're at the restaurant. He's trying to cheer them up and be like, "Hey, you belong." Then he sees Rene Russo and like, yes, stalks her, harasses her, bothers her. And she's like, "Look, why are you bothering me? When we were together, you cheated on me. You were abusive to me. Like you were not a good partner, and I don't want to be with you." And like, we're supposed to root for them. I don't root for them, by the way. Rene Russo should completely have kicked him out of continue to kick him out of his life. Then we meet the drunk announcer Bob Uecker. Who is so funny and charming.
Yeah, Bob Uecker is in my opinion, the best part of the movie. He's so good.
Agreed.
They hired him because he did this series of like Miller Lite commercials, but he had actually been a baseball announcer for like 20 years before that. But yeah, he's so good. He's so dry too. Like his comic delivery is just pinpoint. He's still like, if you just hear him, he's doing his job as a baseball announcer, and but just being able to watch him and his performance, the way he delivers it, it's just, he's just always knocking it out of the park.
Absolutely, and hilariously, like trying to make it sound like they're doing a good job when they're not. Oh, missed it by a hair.
Oh, just a bit outside.
And they're like completely suck. So the owner lady like keeps trying to make them worse and worse because they're not doing too bad. Like she keeps trying to make them worse and worse. She takes away their plane. She gets them a terrible plane, and there's a moment while they're on this very scary plane, and the religious guy who's been like confronting the voodoo guy all throughout is reading a Hustler magazine out in the open on the plane. Or
For
a
the
penthouse,
articles.
or so. He's reading a porn.
For the articles.
That's so offensive. Like that is so toxic and offensive, and I hate it. And he's Mr. Let's pray to Jesus. Anyway, we have to just move on from that because it's gross. There's just more of the same, more of the same, more of the same. Like it was kind of repetitive. Did you feel like?
Yeah. One of the issues I have in this movie is that they set up so much, and I don't feel like they come full circle with a lot of the characters.
Agreed.
I don't feel like that they deliver on some of these promises in terms of, I mean, they do to a degree, but not in a satisfying way, and certainly not in sort of a way that's kind of towards the ending. The main thrust becomes more about, can they win?
Right.
Rather than all their kind of like their arcs kind of forming together, being caused by each other. We get sidetracked a bit with Charlie Sheen's character, basically unknowingly has an affair with Corbin Burnson's wife, who basically spies him cheating, and then she decides to act out.
Yeah. And when we first meet Corbin Burnson in their home, he has this big, beautiful mansion. He's in the solarium. He's taking in his Wall Street investments. And he basically says, like, look, I'm not going to risk a shot to the moneymaker, for this losing team, which again, it's not what the team wants, but it's a good move for him.
Yeah, so
You know?
he is selfish, and what he needs to kind of come full circle with is doing something for the team.
But I'm saying I'm on his side.
Right.
I'm again siding with the villain, and not for the cheating. He shouldn't be cheating on his lovely wife who takes good care of him, which he shouldn't have to do. But it's the 80s, and she does, and she is. Not on board with him for cheating. He deserves what he gets on that score. But for him to be like managing his boundaries and his self-care, to be like, he's doing quiet quitting.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right about what that is?
I'm old. I don't.
He's
really
acting
know
his
quiet quitting.
wage. He's like, I'm gonna do my job, but I'm not going above and beyond because I want to go somewhere else.
Well,
next year.
he's trying to land safely without any injury, so he can, parlay this into, endorsements and TV appearances.
Yeah. And again, good for him. So, but he's supposed to be the bad guy, right? He's not part of the team.
He's the antagonist. He's supposed to be the guy who we want to kind of come around. The owner, she is the bad guy who we want to get her just desserts. She's in more way the bad guy than the opposing team, who we really only know by one character, like the
New York Yankees.
This large dude with a handlebar mustache. We only know that team through that one dude.
Exactly. And he never really Corbin Burnson doesn't even really get his redemption arc because apparently he's had some sort of personal epiphany where he puts aside his hate for Charlie Sheen sleeping with his wife in order for them to win the game.
Right. So his full circle moment of putting, it's is he going to find out about his wife? Is he going to take it out on Charlie Sheen, who honestly didn't know it was his wife?
Honestly, did not know.
Yeah, he honestly did not know. And so there's this dramatic moment at the end where Corbin Burnson kind of walks up to plate and says, go get him, or they're effective. It's there's only one important thing to know is go fuck him up, or something like that. It's is that really the best version of his kind of redemption or his arc? It's it sort of diverted our expectations.
But what it seems to say is that the only thing that the game is more important than to him is his marriage.
Well, it was that it's more important that his teammate succeeds than for him to enact his anger, which he was, because he did let us and him know at the end that he knew.
Right. Okay.
And the thing is that it's totally, unless we knew about, it's totally unmotivated for the shortstop or third base, I forget his position, to kind of stop the game or to come up and to kind of give him kind of a lame pep talk, and that's supposed to flip things around for him. It just did not work for me,
And he has a little bit of a recurring crisis of confidence where he's doing his best, but he's giving up these runs. It's a reveal in the movie that he has poor vision. Right. And that's why he is inaccurate.
He's got a lot of power, but it's just going all over the place.
So the coach man learns of the scheme, and he tells the team of the scheme, and they it's in the trailer. So they take a cardboard cutout of the owner, and they're gonna take her clothes off every time they win a game, which to me was the worst. Worst
so
part
apparently
of the whole
she
thing.
used to be apparently she used to be a showgirl. So I think that's where the the cutout of her came from.
Yes, but there's a hidden not and it's not even that hidden, but there's an underlying violence against her because she's a woman and not because of what she's doing to them as a team that's
Mm-hmm.
sort of represented by that, which is like just another example as we see so often of the 80s being like, fuck women. They're gross. They're objects. Let's, be horrible to them. And I just, ugh.
Yeah, I remember being a young man and enjoying that quite a bit.
Okay. I do love every time that Charlie Sheen comes out and they play the wild thing. Apparently, this inspired IRL baseball players to like come up with their walking to the mountain, like the
Their
pitchers who
own
would come
kind of like
in.
wrestler opening music theme.
Yeah. Which,
Yeah,
like, what an
which is
excellent
cool.
contribution to the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So another fun thing that happened towards the end of this movie, I was watching with my 10 or my, he's 10, he's 12. And he kept guessing what would happen next. So he would just be like, oh, this is going to happen. Then this is going to happen. Then this is going to happen. And then the next, and he'd be like, oh, this is like, he was just guessing what would happen to each player because it is that predictable. A 12-year-old from the year 2022 can predict the end of this movie. But we do get to see all of the people of Cleveland sort of rallying behind the team, and Neil Flynn hugs a punk rock person in a bar, and Rene Russo's like, I guess I dumped my
Right.
fiance.
Uh-huh.
And that's it. And like but so so there is a Major League 2, and Tom Berenger is in it because he keeps talking about how he just wants like one more season, one more taste, one more bite at the apple,
Mm-hmm.
Because his knees, he truly should not be doing what he's doing to his knee. And that's Major League. That's what it
Mm-hmm.
is. Did you like it? Did it hold up? Should we redo it? We already talked about a recast. Absolutely Tom Selleck. But I really like Charlie Sheen in this. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
do find him as a performer, not a person, but as a performer, likable and a good actor.
Yeah, I thought a lot of the cast were pretty great, in terms of their roles. I guess where I was, and it's got a lot of really solid moments. Like you can make a really good trailer out of this, out of all the good moments. I
Yeah.
just felt personally that there was just not enough satisfying payoffs for a lot of the things they set up.
Agreed.
They weren't even like strong setups, It's kind of like the characters are hanging out. It's not like the characters need to radically transform. It's kind of like this is a hangout movie to where the payoff is not huge, or clever. Their opposition, like the New York, they're is not particularly too unique.
Right.
There's not. I didn't feel like a lot of the characters had like satisfying endings to their situation. It doesn't even need to be like big or clever. It's just kind of like I don't even remember the moment that Dennis Haysbert trusted in himself.
Yeah.
It was forgettable. I don't I don't remember the moment that Rene Russo came around and picked him as her man. Like I guess. I do really enjoy underdogs who triumph over the naysayer kind of movies, but I felt like this was just kind of like a medium temperature, medium to low
Agree.
temperature version of that.
Yeah, and there are better versions of it. And like
Yeah.
if there had been
And fully acknowledging that there's a lot of great moments and one-liners in this.
Yeah, but if it had been more ridiculous and more like sort of airplane-y, I think it might have been better, right? Because it's like this is a comedy. It's not Field of Dreams.
Right. I wouldn't have gone airplane, but yeah, for sure. Like you could have gone bigger to a certain degree. I kind of liked some of the degree of realism that they had in the movie that, like, it's like, so seeing this and not remembering it super well, I was surprised actually that it wasn't like raunchier, like
Yeah. Yeah.
and
That
I actually appreciated that,
me too.
because what I want to do is I want to connect with these characters and these dudes,
Mhm.
I want to
Root for them.
I want to root for them. I want to kind of root for these underdogs and for the moment to feel earned.
Yeah. So what do you rate it on a scale of 1 hat for bat,
Hmm.
or 1 we didn't even talk about anything specific, on 1 walk out to the mound pitcher song to 10 walk out to the mound pitcher song?
I think I'm gonna have to give it a 5.
Okay.
It's just I wish it was a little more fun.
I agree. But then we're giving it the same score. It's a 5. It's just a middle of the road. We don't need it. But if
Hmm.
it's on TV and you just leave it on, it's fine. Like,
It's
you'll
one of
get
those.
a
It's one of those ones where it's like you kind of walk in and you see a few moments. It's like, oh yeah, this is fun, and then you walk out.
yeah.
You know.
Because I love a ragtag sport. The thing I love most about sports is movies about sports. And I love a team that's trying hard and just doesn't, and they have quirks and they have lovable this and this guy, people don't know that his weakness is really his superpower and all of this stuff. Like, I'm in it for that, but this
Mhm.
doesn't, it just did for me this time viewing, it didn't do it for me. So I give it a 5.
Yeah.
And what is your and let's just say neither of us can recommend Ted Lasso, but we
Right.
should.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
So,
which is the pinnacle of, I think, the sports underdog stories at this point.
but it is worth mentioning that everything that this movie does that is cringy and makes my teeth hurt, Ted Lasso takes those tropes and turns them away, right? So
Mhm.
it's only maybe like 3 or 4 episodes in that she gives up on her plan to tank the team and realizes that maybe she has done something special. Uh
Uh-huh.
by bringing Ted in, and like, that Ted is doing what I am saying I wanted this team to do, which is to be like, hey, your weaknesses are your strengths. Like, Roy Kent is a little old, but we're going to give him a shot until, until he feels like he's gotten what he needs from the game. Like, Jamie Tart is an asshole, but we're going to maybe try and teach him to be part of a team. It does all of the things in a wholesome way that Major League does in a toxic way. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Mhm.
So it is the best, not deep cut recommendation. It's the best recommendation if you want a better Major League is Ted Lasso. But what is a deep cut recommendation?
For me, okay, this might be controversial. I know more people love
Ooh.
Major Baseball than this movie, but so this is a Tom Selleck baseball movie, which is
Yay!
Mr. Baseball. So I have a penchant for this movie, um, which other people may not agree with, but they're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole idea of Mr. Baseball is that Tom Selleck is a baseball player who gets traded to a Japanese team.
Right.
So he gets sent to Japan, and he is the big loud American, like offensive American player in
Uh-huh.
Japan. So many of the stuff that we saw in Major League Baseball, cultural insensitivity, he is that. But
Mm-hmm.
it is just him. The people around him don't embody those things. Like the Japanese players and people around him actually get to have dignity and push back, and his arc is that he becomes more sensitive about this stuff,
Yeah.
and then they also are a little less stiff, so you do get much more of an arc and and a transformation for everyone involved without it
Mm-hmm.
being too exaggerated, and
Yeah.
it's also just like a fun, it's like this was one of those movies that was kind of fun to see Japan and to see it from an outsider's point of view.
Yeah. And you also recommended that movie when we did Runaway. I love recommending the same things over
because
and over.
because you guys. Oh, and this also has Dennis Haysbert in it again
Yay!
as
Oh,
a and he gets a lot more to chew on. Like
I love
he,
him.
like he is. It's like he is Frank. It's like being he is a black man in Japan,
Uh-huh.
and so everyone in Japan calls him Hammer because of MC Hammer. You
Oh
know,
no. Oh no.
yeah, and he gets a lot more to chew on, at
Uh,
least as being kind of like a person in this movie than in
he
Major League Baseball.
he plays a character in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is in my top 3 favorite TV shows of all time. That
Mhm.
is just it lights up my life. He's so wonderful. But so for my deep cut recommendation, I went another way, which is that like Corbin Burnson is a main character in this, and I just kept thinking every time I looked at him, I was like, okay, so this is him as a young man. Like this is like Corbin Burnson in his prime, but he is so much more appealing, both just in an objectification purely physical way, but also as in a character in Psych, where he plays
Mm.
Sean's dad. So I'm going to recommend Psych because I really like Corbin Burnson's character in it.
Mhm.
And the whole time I was watching Major League, I was like, I wish I was watching Psych. And so if you've never seen Psych, do yourself a favor and watch it. It's about um, it's one of those like USA characters welcome.
Like
We're gonna
Monk. Yeah.
solve like exactly like Monk. Like we're gonna solve a cozy mystery with that like very like middle of the road stakes. But it's about two best friends. One of them pretends to be a psychic for some reason to hide his like powers of extreme observation, and his best friend Gus, and they solve mysteries together in Santa Barbara. There's nothing not to love about it as far as I know. um and it's great. So that's my deep cut recommendation.
Cool.
Anything new to tell people about, or should they just go? Why don't you tell them to like and love us?
Okay. So remember, guys, if you help rate and review us, it's not about our sensitive feelings. It helps other people discover the show. So if you rate and review the show on the iTunes, I know it's probably called podcast now, or whatever internet podcast service you use. There's a reason why Chrissy does this and not me. Then it helps us out. It helps out the podcast, and we appreciate it.
We do. And also it helps our sensitive feelings. Like we're
That's
people
true.
too.
You know what? It does, because we are sensitive.
We're artist types.
I'm not gonna lie.
But find Nathan on Squishy Studios and watch all his shows. They're all absolutely worth watching. And then just like put a pin in the back of your mind that someday when he asks for money, you'll be like, "Yay, here's money to make art." And if you're in the downtown Mesa area, you can see me IRL at the Neighborhood Comedy Theater. Or you can follow me at Most Excellent Chrissy, and please follow the podcast at Most Excellent Pod. We appreciate you. Thank you for being here with us all the way to the end, and because of that, you have earned the right to be excellent to each other. And
Party
party on,
on,
dudes.
dudes.
I don't think we've ever nailed the party on, dudes, quite as much as we nailed it just then.
Did we?
I think so. So we didn't even talk even a little bit about Wesley Snipes, which like
And he's really good in this. Like it's
he
so
is.
like it's so great to see him as the young guy, as the wet behind his ears, rookie, which I think he does a great job with.
He does, and he's so charming, and he's so cute and likable. He is just likable. And so a fun fact that I did learn was that he was so bad at baseball, like he was so bad at doing anything except the running and the stealing of bases that they didn't show any shots of him like catching throwing the ball because he looked ridiculous. But I love this like sort of through story of him being so brave and bold that he is going to steal bases, and that's his thing. He's going to steal bases, and I love that about him. And so that's what I mean, Nathan, about her giving him this chance, because no other team would have given him this chance. And it turns out he's good. He just needs someone to believe in him.
I think you've turned me around.
Yay. Yay. Which makes me think that a better deep cut recommendation might be Blade.
No. I mean, it's a better movie.
I love Blade. And
yeah,
Blade,
me too.
Blade Trinity with Ryan Reynolds is a guilty pleasure. Yes, it is a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, no, Blade Trinity, that's the one where he let his stuntman do all the shots except for close-ups.
Oh, is that right?
He was getting blazed in his Winnie.
Oh, but I love Ryan Reynolds in that one.
Yeah, sure.
And isn't it Natasha Lyonne?
Oh, sure.
Okay, all right. I'll stick with what I've got then. So fun. What else do we not say that we need to say?
I think that's it.
Okay. Very well then. Continue with your partying on.
Very good. And party on, dudes.